Hey YouTube, Minimalist Outdoors here. Based off the video that I did yesterday, I did a little segment on the ice fishing setup and the minimalist pole setup and everything. What I ended up doing, I know I said I was gonna like not do any steel leaders or some extra gauge leaders or anything like that. What I ended up doing, just to add a little bit of versatility on our last topic, was add one of these little, um, I guess, lure hooks right here. Um, I don't know, just to act as like a little safeguard for the thin line and just add a little bit more versatility. But yeah, that concludes the whole fishing pole little project thing. Um, the topic I want to cover today is what tools you would need for bushcraft or survival, or like a lot of people argue this. Like there's a lot of experts out there. I'm not a novice. I'm not a hobby survivalist. I'm a little bit more than that, but I'm not an expert. I'm just going based off of everything that I do on this channel. I go based off of what has worked for me in the past and what I see as a very useful tool. Um, I'm not going over everything that you need for survival because that can get pretty complex and that'd be, like a 2 hour video. I'm just going to be doing a, 15-minute or less video on the tools that you need. I have changed my background up a little bit, sitting on my hutch inside my living room. But yeah, I'll be going over a couple things. Um, this item right here, this is called the Böker Day Hiker trail knife. Um, I use this for hunting. I go hunting every year, and like for turkey, for deer. Whenever I cut the deer open, this is a knife that I use. So yeah, look how thick that blade is. It's a nice knife. I'll be doing reviews on it later on, but I'm just gonna go over just the fact that one of the recommendations that you have is you have a fixed blade knife. You don't need anything injuring you while you're out in the woods like a folding knife. Folding knives sometimes a pivot on the very inside where the blade meets the handle. Those things can break and it'll fold on your fingers and it'll result in some pretty bad damage on your hand. So you don't need any flesh wounds while you're out there. This right here has a lot of good weight to it. Nice and thick. This knife, I've had this for close to 4 years now, and it keeps its edge very well. I've only had to sharpen it once, and I'm pretty happy about that. And like this is what I use for a lot of the skinning. I also use that small little skinner on my previous videos with the orange handle to get into nice like fine detail and everything. This is just for caping the hide off of a deer or something like that. But yeah, this is called the Böker Magnum Day Hiker. Böker, a little history background on Böker. Böker is a German manufacturer. They've been manufacturing blades since I believe the 1890s, and so they're pretty good at that. They made the German trench knives of World War One. So whenever you hear like someone in history reference a Böker knife, they're referencing the same brand, which they still happen to be making knives. But yeah, fixed blade knife, 5 inches or more. Like that's what you need for bushcraft. Or some people they want to go extreme minimalist, and which is like higher difficulty, and like you're not gonna be able to novice. They want to jump off the inexperienced wagon and go directly onto the expert wagon, and I don't see why. I just, regardless if you're an expert or a novice, I think the larger knife is kind of the way to go. Another thing, this is a gift from my girlfriend. This is called a wire saw. This one's made by Field and Stream. I've used wire saws in the past, and they're like the cheap Coleman ones that you can find at Walmart. Those are fine if you don't plan on using them for very long. This one right here, this one is like triple braided and has lacerations on each braid. The one that I used that broke on me out west when I used them, that thing lasted me about a month, and it was a single braid. So this one's gonna last for quite a while. And what a lot of people don't understand is when you're using the wire saws, it's meant for getting branches that are like meant for like kindling or something like that. Like something that's like 2 inches in diameter or less. You don't want to tackle like 5 inch or like stumps or whatever, because you're not gonna get very far. But yeah, here's a closer look. These are the thumb rings that you can use right here. So what this thing does, it'll unravel, and you can just put it around the base of a branch and just saw it, kind of like flossing a little bit. So I'll get to the Tomahawk after the candles, but some people might argue that this is not necessary, but I think it is. To conserve on battery power, you're going to need battery power when you go out like hunting and gathering and everything. So you're going to, if you're at your camp and you're in your like little man-made structure, if there's enough shelter from the wind, you're going to need a light source and a consistent one without draining batteries of your flashlight or your headlamp. I recommend bringing candles. Candles are, unscented ones, of course. These are pretty useful. You can use them for a heat source if you don't want to bring the fire that you have at your camp inside your little structure. You can still get a little heat off these candles, and warm your hands up if it's like -20 and you don't want to go out and face the wind and the elements and everything. These will work. I've used candles in the past. What I did back in, I believe it was 2012. I'm kind of crazy in this sense. What I would do is I'd actually strap on my skis, and during the winters in North Dakota on Highway 83, you'd see like not even 70 yards away from each other cars that have gone off the road and people who are stuck inside of them. So what I would do is I'd put on my skis during these winter whiteout conditions with supplies and packs and snacks and stuff like that and candles, and go to each individual vehicle, asking if somebody needs, help, or, if they're waiting for a ride, which they always were. But, for time being, if you have an enclosed cab and you have like your little reflective emergency blankets and everything, these will give off some heat. So it's nothing that you want to write off. So another thing, people who want to like carry things from the woods that they've cut down, like logs or sticks and other branches and stuff. A belt, a wide belt for that's made out of canvas, kind of like this one. This is a cheap belt that came with a pair of pants that I got like when I was in junior high. I still kept the belt and everything. This is a pretty useful tool in the sense where you can just like loop it and cinch a bundle of sticks and everything. That way you have one hand free instead of just like lifting up the whole thing. You could just put that in the center of the branches and tighten it with a tug and throw it over your shoulder. That way you still have a hand free to collect other things like your tinder and stuff like that. You could put inside your tinder pouch. But these are small ideas that I don't think people should write off. I think they're really good ideas, and you can just use basic things from around your house. And other people argue, well, if you already have your 550 cord, you don't need to have a belt or like a canvas strap or sling. My argument for that would be this thing is a lot wider and a lot more comfortable. It's not going to dig into your shoulder. See, like it's going to be a lot more comfortable to carry something behind your shoulder with this without cutting and using up your 550 cord. 550 cord you could use for more useful things, like lashing your structure together. This is reusable. You can go back out there without having to cut this thing. You can use it for whatever, looping all the branches together and carrying them in a bundle to your camp. Fourth item, I wouldn't worry about these and if you already have snowshoes, I would disregard these. But if you don't have snowshoes, these steel crampon ice cleats, these are really useful when people do get the motivation to go out in the woods and face the elements is normally in the late fall, early winter time. So they're gonna have ice on the ground, and when they're out hunting and gathering, you're gonna be facing some slippery conditions, especially on well-trotted paths, which I experienced just the other day. I slipped and busted my ass pretty good. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about these if you have snowshoes. These are just in case you don't have snowshoes, but these stretch and they fit over your boots, and these are the ones that were issued to me while I was in the military, and I still have them. Last but not least, this tool right here. This is the Tomahawk I talked about in my last video where I was introducing the ice fishing and trail rig. These items you can wear on your belt. Like, one item is a belt, so like you can just wear these on the outside. They're not going to take up any space in your pack. So you just wear them on the outside of the pack if you have to. Like me, I've been getting into leather work, and here's a leather belt that I put together with a buckle and a little something representing who I am. I'm a deer hunter. But yeah, I just use this as just a primary gear belt, and you can just put everything on there, including the Böker knife and the Tomahawk. And I mentioned in the last video the axe collar, in case you miss swing and everything, and the blade doesn't hit its objective and it hits the log instead and kind of chews up the wood. This will save you from having to replace your handles very often, and then like you can acquire new handles out in the woods, just whittle away and carve away some longer branches that are made of hardwood. This is a hickory handle. Buckthorn, that's pretty solid too, and pretty common too, and also normally around the same diameter. So this buckthorn would work when you're acquiring different handles, because this axe head, this Tomahawk head, will come off if you just tap it and everything. This thing doubles up as a weapon, an axe, of course, and a hammer. There's a hammer surface right here, so when you're piling stakes and everything, you can this is just very good, useful tool right here, and it has enough weight on the very top where you can get some pretty good chunks out of trees, and more chopping power than a saw, just about. I prefer using axe heads and tomahawks and hatchets over a saw. Saws will bend, saws will break. These will just need to keep them sharp, keep them oiled, and the blade will treat you right. Other than that, this is my little video on just the small amount of tools that you can just consider bringing as a minimalist. There are a lot of people that argue you need less, or there's some people that say, oh, you're missing something, but as someone who doesn't have an idea to go off of, I've been doing this stuff since I was a beginner, and I'm going to be using the same stuff as an expert when I grow into being an expert. Right now, I just want to teach people the passion of the outdoors and ways to having fun out there. So yeah, the axe collar is actually a pretty good idea. I saw that online. I can't remember where, but I decided to hand make it myself, doing my leather crafting and everything. And yeah, I recommend, if you ever do get an axe that's wood and not steel at the top, make an axe collar. You'll thank yourself later instead of having to go out there and find a new handle. Alrighty. But yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.